Hi everyone. Take note. We are going live, so smile. To everyone who's watching this live stream right now, welcome, and we will be with you shortly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live stream of our virtual poetry day. We greet you from all around the world. You're going to hear amazing poets. My job right now is to just kind of give you direction and guidance about folks that are here in the space, in the Zoom room. So just be patient with me. I just want to give you a few guidelines to think about. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate your presence. Whether you're a poet or a community member, we want to remind you of a few things about this platform. We would like to remind everyone to always keep your mic muted. If you are not a featured speaker, it is very important to keep your mic muted at all times. Thank you. There will be glitches. We're working in a new form of technology. There will be mistakes. Please be gentle and patient with everyone. Be aware that technology is not perfect, obviously, and everyone does not have the same internet speed or camera or mic quality. So we are going to enjoy this poetry in the different ways that it comes through. We appreciate the love. This is going to be an amazing experience. My collaborators and I hope to do more of these events as a space for artists to convene beyond boundaries, as a community to support artists. It's really important to support artists. This is a very difficult time. Many people have had gigs and events canceled at the drop of a hat. So if you are listening now, please find a way to donate to these amazing artists who are sharing their work. Thank you to those who have donated already, and we know many people will donate throughout the event. The featured poets will have about 5 to 7 minutes, and the open mic poets will have between 2 and 3 minutes. We only have about 10 slots for the open mics, but guess what? There are a few slots left. So if you're listening now and you are interested in being on the open mic, please go to the Hear My Voice page and like it and find out directions about being a part of the open mic. This section on Zoom, we will be chatting and keeping up with information here. If there's any reason that I have to communicate with you, we'll have an area to chat as well. Bangile Gancho from impepho Press is our featured host for tonight and will introduce all of the featured poets, and I will guide you through our open mic poets. Thank you so much. My name is Wema Rahopala from Bridges, a Pan-African arts movement.
Hello, everybody. Whoop, whoop, we're live. We did this. We're doing this. Yay. Okay, so we are streaming across the world right now, and we're going to be sharing poems. And we're basically just trying to find a way to make sense of things. So we are all aware of the times that we are living in. And what has happened is that this virus has kind of made us aware of how we can make each other sick. And so the logic behind that is then, if we can make each other sick, surely we can help heal each other. And so this is what we are doing here as impepho Press, as Hear My Voice, as Bridges, the Pan-Africanist Arts Movement. We are saying that we are lending ourselves to the hope of healing. We're saying that We don't know much. We're not scientists. We're not sure how to find a cure, but we do know poems, and we know how poems heal us and what poetry has done for us. And so we will share that with you. Thank you for live streaming with us. You could have been doing absolutely anything in the world, and you choose to spend your time with us, and we appreciate that. We don't take it for granted. We have a wonderful lineup of artists from around the world, and we're really looking forward to hearing their poetry. I just want to ask everybody who's watching from home or to sit back, enjoy, go grab a glass of wine, get a cup of tea, do whatever makes you feel good and feel comfortable, and share the links. Share the links of how you are live streaming with your friends. Share the hashtag InPoetryWeHope, and tell us what you are enjoying. Tell us how you are enjoying this process. So I'm just going to check with our team. So we have Wema, who's kind of the stage manager, and she's going to make sure that everything is running smoothly. And then we have Ishmael, who is kind of our sound engineer, and he's going to make sure that everybody can be heard and that things are going smoothly technically. And so without further ado, we are going to begin. And first up, and so how the lineup is going to go is that we're going to have 3 artists. I'm going to introduce 3 artists, and it's going to be who's on, who's next, and who's on deck. And then following that, we will have someone from the open mic. And then we will go back to 3 artists and then someone from the open mic. And we will close with the rest of the open mic, and then we will have had a wonderful of poetry. So first up, we have, I'm going to try and mute this microphone, but first up we have Busisiwe Mahlangu, who is a poet and a student. She is from South Africa, and she is the author of a wonderful book called Surviving Loss, published by impepho Press. And following Busisiwe, we have Des Lee, and Desirea Lee is from, she is an alumni from Florida University, and she, when she's not on set, her passions include poetry, photography, and she aspires to be a media curator and to travel the world. So after Desirea, we're going to have danai mupotsa, who is a mother to Mika, teacher, educator, and poet, and the author of Feeling and Ugly, also published by impepho Press. So if you go to the pages on our social media, both on Facebook, on impepho Press, on Bridges, or on Hear My Voice, you will find information cards on all the artists. On those information cards, there is information on how to support these artists, how to buy their work, how to share their work, please, how to contact them, please use it so that you can keep supporting. So Busisiwe up, we're gonna have Busisiwe, and then we have Desirea up next, and we have danai mupotsa on there. Take it away, Busi.
Hi, can you hear me? You can hear me? Oh, I'm like, it's raining here. I can't hear properly. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna read from Surviving Loss. My body is small, and pain lives there. Ever since the storm, pain flooded out of its cage and looked for home. This escape is not intentional. It is an interruption for both of us. Pain is a glitch in my blood with its quest. I am a glitch with my small body. To evict pain is to evacuate too. So we fall into a routine of temporary survival. Pain jagged, it pokes holes under my skin. The roof leaks. I seal it with flesh. When all flesh is wound, I use gum. My body gets smaller, pain grows. My body is small, but my body lives there. Were you able to hear all of that? I don't know. Oh, okay. It's raining really hard this side. My next poem that I'm gonna read is titled "New Affirmations for the Past." Um, and one our way again. We do not ask it where it comes from and what it carries. We let it move the soil and bend the trees. We watch it become stronger. Here is a moment. Maybe we can tell the wind to go back. Maybe we prepare better for the current. Maybe I pull the clothes off the washing line on time and I close all the windows before the wind pulls the door from its hinges and let all the children live. And Mama has open arms to embrace us all. I'm gonna do my last poem. I hope you can hear me. Title Worship. My body holds a song. Stand still while the waves rise and fall in places locked away. The music is a call for freedom, an anthem inside throats with half prayers. In my body, there are cities that have stopped waiting for a hymn and started burning their temples, made holy a body of ashes, made fire a circle of faith. Now bricks float in the air like dust. I play the song with my fingers, the labia, a plain instrument, the clitoris, a string. I know how to move dead cities. There is magic in my body that loneliness cannot empty out. Do not touch me like you're digging a girl out of a grave. I've saved myself through orgasms over the gospel and the preaching. Pleasure is so holy. Do not waste it on your ego. I deserve a God who will not call this worship a sin, who will not call my hands inside my jars stealing. I am not waiting for a husband. I am waiting for a chord that will strike my spine to dance. This is how I pray and sing or worship. This is how I return to my body. I am naked when I read the Bible. This is how I return to my body. There are abundant places in me that only I can rescue. God, I will call your name when I come. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Hello. Hi, everybody. I am Desirea, also known as Kaleidoscope. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm an artist and poet based in DC currently studying film. And I'm just so happy to be a part of, the amazing featured artists today. I'm really excited times of confusion. So here we go. This poem's called Right Now. What color does your life feel like right now? One day you'll have to explain it. You'll look into your grandchildren's eyes, one sitting in your lap, the other on the floor, just waiting for answers. And you want them to know who you were, what pigments you used in the past, which have made you who you are. Tell them that your dreams were made of ocean water when you were 16, that they became lava when you turned 18 and decided that you would take over the world, right? How you almost died when you turned 21, you changed your ways and started over. Tell them the decisions that determined the rest of your life, how it was shoved down your throat before you even knew yourself. Tell them that what it felt like to discover who you are, how you stumbled upon your own personality. Sorry, I was just making sure I wasn't on mute. That'd be so embarrassing. How you stumbled upon your own personality, like being introduced to royalty, the hardest thing you've ever had to do. Tell them it took night after night of tears on the cusp of eyeliner, threatening to destroy the perfect wings you needed so badly. Tell them how you craved to fly, how you sometimes even thought that you could. Tell them that it took choosing your friends a little more wisely and finally being honest with your parents. Be sure to tell them that it was worth it though. You'll be able to recall the hue you are reflecting right now, the forest green of a mad scientist, the blazing red of hope and eagerness, the highlighter yellow of an all-night creation session, or maybe the navy blue of getting off of work at the end of the week, the burnt orange of a Caribbean house party, the charcoal gray of an Uber ride home in the morning. Tell them that right now feels like standing up for something you believe in, like finding a new sense of family and kin, like being in the right place at the right time, like knowing the universe is perfectly aligned, like starting new projects, like being part of a movement, rallying together, powerful as ever. It's like becoming whole, like finding a hold, like putting your desires on hold just to return to them later. It feels like a rare situation of real friends, sometimes with benefits, like regret and fear and learning your lesson. This moment feels like a crisp white tee, like your favorite pair of jeans, like viral videos, like momentum tugging at your sleeve, a constant reminder that you are not as invincible as you think. Tell them that you lived intentionally and that they will have to do the same. Tell them the details no one would think to explain. In their own way, they are significant. Remember the instances that aren't worth an entire story. Remember what shade you punctuate your sentences in. Tell your grandchildren that you planned for this, the moment you could paint a picture for them of right now. Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. The next one is called Stardust. All right. She will be stardust. She will spread herself thin and wide, a piece of her presence to be found in every room she has ever been present. She will know how to present beauty, her gift. Not only will she be a sight for the eyes, but a delight for the heart she will lift. The spirits of those around her, the discomforts that once bound her will be no more, for when she speaks, they will listen. The world cannot decipher her, but they will understand her actions in depth. They will nod. To the beat of her breath, they will sing. To the chorus of her tears, they will declare her language autistic gold. They will hear, they will see, for she will be scribe. She will conquer, she will capture. Life itself in the palm of her hand, she will be historian. And with the click of her index, she will be timekeeper, truth seeker, curator of the pictorial arts. She will provide a more colorful society. By painting the town in her visual poetry, her life will take form of one great big joke. A dance that's walked, a song that's spoke. She will laugh so hard, only to provoke more laughter. She will know her before and her after, the inevitable factor that will allow her to discover her future, and her future, it will be luminous. Brighter than they ever could have guessed. She will be regal. She will be success, defined in terms of fulfillment rather than achievement. She will be queen. She will be princess. She will rule over her universe and create a world of abundance. And when she loves, it will be legendary. She will love hard and solid. Her children will flock to her arms as if all the answers to life's questions were in a mother's embrace. And of course they are. She is woman. Hear her roar. She is woman. See her tears. Hold her hand. Kiss her head and watch her be happy. She will teach the treasure the Declaration has dared us all to pursue. She will simply be happy. All right. Thank you all so much. I really appreciated sharing in this moment with you all.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
So I'm reading from Feeling and Ugly. My poems are quite short, so I'll read a couple. Beloved, you make me dream only of nipples and fingers and wet. This is for the women who walk for so long each day and every day that they know no feeling at all of exhaustion, whose bruises mark moments of collapse and return, whose mornings and evenings are stitched so closely together that their dreams have learned to slip through the cracks of that darkness in bright, short, mostly shattering flashes, who know no such thing as a time to be shattered, whose feet ache in the morning when they wake to the next day, that first moment of breath, when they break with routine for the briefest awareness of the body. Small ache in the lower back, and sharp needle across the side and chest and the stomach. Get up, feed others, lose tempers, speak sharply, speak softly, hold others gently. Keep walking. For the baby that I aborted. I miss you from places my body cannot forget. I miss you from places my ancestors failed to find me. I mourn you from parts of my existence that only God can touch. I know survival. It smells like your breath. On the sexual division of labor. White people talk, Black people dance. Fruit bowl. I want to climb you like a fruit bowl, awkwardly balancing my fleshiest parts against your hips, pressing your breasts against my mouth, leaving so little oxygen to share between us. I want to climb you like my friend Pumla rides a fruit bowl, munching apples like the deep hunger inside her will never cease to need. For the woman who had a baby with the love of my life. I will have to learn to love you despite myself and my heart and longing. I will love that baby like it grew out of my thumb and into the world to meet me. I will smile through my heartache and watch you play your happy. I will try not to be petty. I will grow up. I'll stop wishing that I didn't love him so much. I will learn to pretend that he did not show me only indifference. Wedding vows. I will love you until the day that I do not. It will be the kind of love that consumes every part of you. When I am happy, you will know all of my happy. I will flood you with happy and kindness. When I am angry, I will fill the room with all of my anger. I refuse to ever give you indifference. For as long as I love you, and I will love you until the day that I do not. I remember the first moment that I noticed you. I noticed your presence. You hovered like you loved the idea that no one noticed you at all. I saw you move about the room, consuming its sight and sound like you could be indifferent, until you noticed her, and in one moment it was all broken. One look could still slice you right open. I noticed you and loved you, right in that moment, like I could collect your pieces, gather them in my hands, crawl on my knees to rescue the smallest parts, use my tongue and my tears to nest you. Despite all intuition to run, I turned to love, to rescue you like a broken bird. My whole life I have loved you, broken bird. My mother was a broken bird. The last couple. Her mother found her sitting on the floor, head leaning against the porcelain toilet, dead baby floating in the bowl. Her mother called her a whore, and they never spoke of the matter again. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. She asked me gently to talk to her slowly because I found it difficult to choose difficult over resentment. I told her I loved her, that's all. She asked me again, quite gently, to choose difficult. I told her that I loved her and that it is difficult to tell her that she hurts me with her indifference. She talked to me slowly, again gentle, almost like love, to choose difficult. I stopped breathing, scared she might slice me open in that moment, closed my mouth and chose resentment. Last one. I mourn that sweet girl that lives inside me. She sits under a tree and fears her own shadow. She ran away from me one day because she saw all of my ugly and blamed herself.
Hi, everyone. I am here to introduce you to your very first open mic poet. I'm excited that all of you are joining us. I am also going to remind you to share and share and share this beautiful, amazing work. Tell your friends. I love hearing all the comments that are going on. Please let folks know that they can donate to all of these amazing poets that are presenting today. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our first donations. Desirea has donated to this cause, and we want to thank him so much. So as we continue forward, we're getting ready for our open mic, and the first person up is Philippa. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, hello. This is such an amazing opportunity. This is such a great initiative. Thank you so much to all of you, brave beats, all day. And so I wanted to do this poem, which is called 69 Bullets, and another poem which will be an antidote. 69 bullets for the Sharpeville 69. 69 bodies caught in half sentences. I was on my way to the shop. I saw this chap I like. He's all fire. His skin and eyes are copper weapons, blazing in the turning sun. I go soft in his hard eyes, can't stop smiling. Oh, it was still quiet when I came past, and he told me to go home. Things could get nasty. Then he smiled and said, let's meet afterwards. I didn't know the protest was illegal, but I suppose that's obvious after all. Isn't everything we blacks do illegal? I tried to get in front of her, but it was too late. She fell first. I didn't want to be a voiceless victim. I knew exactly what I was getting into, but she was not supposed to be there. I was escorting my friend. He's into this PAC. My father says we should rather get better jobs than he could. Who wants to be a Machingilane in Hillbrow? Some blacks are even lawyers, he says. Why do I pay school fees? He said he's on night shift. He hasn't got time for this young boy's nonsense. He couldn't see his way to be there, so I was there for him. Me, I was clear in my mind because I was 19. Robert Sobukwe spoke at our school. We can only liberate ourselves, and it starts here. It was true. Why are we poor tenants of our own inheritance? The disorder could only be cured by naming it and inhibiting its spread, by liberating out to everyone. We should not take it personally. After all, it was a protest. It was political. We knew what we were doing. What is this world that we are creating? Rather die for freedom than live like a slave. What will I tell my children when they ask, where were you? Whatever happens, at least I spoke out. It was political, I agree, but death is personal, very personal. Each death as unique as birth, with its own portents and banalities. Who will fetch the baby from the creche? Who will tell my mother? I didn't mean to hurt. I didn't know what we were doing was so bad. Oh well, we knew that we were risking, but still, all my tomorrows, please, I surrender. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender, please. Could you stop shooting now? So it is also International Day of Poetry. And so I would like to add this because we're celebrating our human rights and we know what it means to be human. And we will fight for everyone to have this. There is a column of quiet at the center of you, a spine of equanimity, a deep blue sky that doesn't grab at every bird that flies through it, a starry, starry sky sheltering your fearless footsteps, a stormy sky thundering war drums to your enemies, a quiet that doesn't echo every note of the river's murmur, a stillness that is there whether you find it or not. But if you find it every day, you will be free and you walk forward into each new minute as a new day. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Philippa. Yeah. Can I try something? I know it's gonna maybe cause a bit of chaos, but just for a second, can everybody unmute their mic and just go, yes, poetry.
Yes!
Yes,
Poetry!
Yes, poetry.
Yes,
Poetry.
Yes.
Come on now.
I love it. Also, okay, so everybody can mute
We can
their
mute
mics
now.
again. Thank you so much. I also just want to give people who are live streaming from outside of this room a sense of what is going on so that they can also know that, you know, we're all holding each other through these poems. Thank you so much to the poets that we've just had. And also, thank you for the bravery. Busi, Desirea, and Danai and Philippa. It's not easy to be the first ones, especially when we're all learning technology, when we're all testing this out. And so thank you for being so brave. Thank you for sharing your beautiful, beautiful words with us. And thank you for just like opening it up with like such a bang, you know. So where I am right now, we're experiencing a bit of a storm. So if I am lost at some point, my co-host Wema will take over, but the show will go on. Up next, we're going to have Raya, Wambui, and then we're going to have Crystal, Kwadwa, Tetty, and we're going to have Sarah Godsell. So Raya is from Kenya, and sorry, I just need to open this quickly. So Raya is from Kenya. She's passionate, evocative, compelling, and she is passionate about developing philanthropic awareness and truly personal messages. She believes in focusing on conversation, on mental health and human rights. Following Wema, we'll have Crystal Kwadwa from Tetty. Crystal Kwadwa Tetty from Ghana. And Crystal is an arts curator, an arts developer, and creator of Let's Talk Poetry. She's also a facilitator of workshops, and she is a renowned poet in Ghana. And we're so thankful that she could join us. Following Crystal on deck, we will have Sarah Godsell. Sarah is an educator. She's a historian. She's a mom, and she is a proud lover of all things beautiful and anti-capitalist, anti-elitist, anti-racist, equality in society and building of communities. She's also the author of 2 collections, Seaweed Sky and Surviving Loss, and Liquid Bones published by impepho. So I thought that I would actually also like to read a poem, but I will do that, I think, a bit later on. So first up, we have Raya, and then we have Crystal, and we will have Sarah on deck. Thank you, Raya.
Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to start off with a short one and then lead into a slightly longer one. They're about two different she's, right? First piece is called The Dust She Leaves. Her name's not on a headline. She isn't famous or important. She's beautiful. She catches stares, but then again, there's lots of those. She's scared, afraid. In her own room, the strikes come fast as he does. Her food is tasteless as her tears. Neither neighbor nor mirror see her. Her problems are someone else's, so everyone believes. Her world is shut in, broken. No matter where, she's on her knees. One day, he's just a bit too drunk. He just had a bad day. She shrieked louder than ever, but he'd never heard a word she'd say. But then again, life does go on, so it may not be as serious as it seems. She may not see or breathe again, but the dust she leaves will catch sunbeams. All right, so the second piece is called As She Should Be. And it's more of a story. My shosho and I would take trips to see the animal orphanage. Nairobi is cold, she would say to me. Still, I would beg for those bright red devil ice lollies. They would paint my lips red. We would watch lion cubs stretch and stick out their tongues. They looked like teddies. Mama would take me to 40 Thieves. There was this fallen tree on the beach. We as kids would run down sunny, sand-dusted stairs to reach and compete for who could climb up it first, or get to it and swing from it, or stand on it and sing from it. I'm the king of the castle, you're the dirty rascal. It's ironic how, even then, we stood atop fallen pieces of Mother Earth to pretend, lord over each other. I visited again in my teens. The tree then sunk beneath sand so low that castle branch I could sit on it. The stairs were buried too. The last time I visited, just the tip of that swinging branch peaked at a 40 Thieves that is now half the size. The sea and the sand have claimed back their property. Daddy took me snorkeling in Tiwi Beach, and we could see kaleidoscope coral reef with multicolored, uncountable neon fish darting between their rippled surfaces. We went again last year, him, my brother, my sister, and I, and all we could do was watch out for sea urchins. As adults, we clamber with kings of the earth, pumping the most fumes above us, no filters, streaming live threads and trends, while we forget not to litter. Besides us, little footprints patter, licking lollies and dropping wrappers. My daughter, she's learning to talk. How will I explain Hurricane Katrina to her once it's happened again and again and again, and we are yet to stop making the very same mistakes? Our Mother Earth is not human. Were she person, she would be buried already under the weight of her selfish children. I will tell my grandchildren stories of giants that had giant teeth we called tusks, big enough to fit 3 children on, and they will laugh. But I will not find it funny, because although I'll love to see them smile, they'll find my story senile for dwelling in historical times when rhinos existed in real life. I will tell them about a fallen tree that by then sits sunk and salty, decomposing, possibly along with neems and taller bridges, taller trees that hold up laddered bridges, for colobus monkeys, safe passage across Diani's main street. Truth be told, to be mother is a thing of beauty. You don't have to make her look haggard, then fault her continuity. But there is hope. Here, everywhere I look. If all the world needs is for people like us to make the right decisions in meetings like these, then we are here to save the air we breathe. We're here to save the sea from emissions, to save the land from the sea, because it should be more than a dream that our great, great, great grandchildren get to be on an earth who is still beautiful, as she should be. Thank you.
Hello world, this is Crystal Tetty. Thanks for tuning in. Keep hope alive. 55634. Monitor, profile, me. Love me? Sifting through the digits. 55634. Is it my turn yet? 55634, showing signs of moving in the wrong direction, subverting the cue. Let's see, sneakers, a Michael Kors bag. Oh, really? 2 laptops and a tablet? Unravel in a plastic tray, hands on, pat down, dishevel me. Love me, maybe? You know me, I suppose, plucked out of the queue. You recognize the liquids, pathology of a frequent flyer. Life shuffled around conveyor belts, each time. 55634. Judge me again. 55634. Love me? Maybe later.
Hello, everyone. Oh, what an amazing thing to be part of. I've just got goosebumps and my heart is wanting to explode. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, wherever you are. I had different poems that I wanted to do, but these poems want to be done. So here is a poem for choice in a time that feels choiceless. Choose, he said, magic or safety. She smiled. I choose sky, she said, and roses. Sky fish, plum-colored triggers and crimson-breasted clowns, sea birds, Picasso waxbills and teardrop butterfly kites in the star-cloud sea. Choose, he said. Tomorrow's or yesterday's. She twirled. I choose pink, she said, and circles. Water trees, jacaranda kelp and fever necklace, cloud corals, staghorn cumulus and great star cirrus in the tide-pulled sky. Choose, he said, hope or truth. She glowed. I choose silence, she said, and openings. Seabed flowers, pebble snowdrops and volcanic chrysanthemums, precipitation mollusks, hail oysters and mist ammonites in the moon-wrapped sea. Choose, he said, forward or roots. She floated. I choose up, she said, and angels. And she floated up and up into the seaweed sky. and a poem for balancing bravery and surrender. This is called Against the Storm. Every jacaranda against every stormy sky is heart against hope. Parts stubbornly refusing to be swallowed by whole. Whole gently licking and holding parts is cycle, reminding us of where we were, where we are, where we will never be again. Who will always be gone, how they will always be with you, is shutting your eyes to the fall, finding the gentle cushions of wind in the storm. And a poem for coming together as community to heal. This is called Clowns, and it was written for the town of L'Aquila, Italy, after it had survived an earthquake, and based on a true story. They came in rainbow squeaks, trickling in drips from all over the country. They came in trains, their colored wigs bouncing as they sat in silence, waiting to arrive. They came in cars, squeaky shoes over-revving accelerators as they drove, not talking, purposeful. They came from the top, bottom, middle of the country, answering a call spread through the shockwaves. They came to a small town outside Rome that wringing its hands, thick with grief. No one speaks as they sift through the rubble. The clowns arrive, cartwheel in, smiles ready, painted in technicolor to ease the razor edges of a new day. They spin in, take people's hands, dance, spray water out of plastic flowers, washing the taste of death away with custard pies, gently, gently helping to clear the rubble. For 1 hour, and another, and one more. And a song for those who have left us recently. I'm not going to sing, don't worry, but it's called Home Song. Go well. Go with shells in your hair and wings on your ankle bones. Go with snake familiars in your belly and calligraphy on your map. Go well. Go with all the tears shed for you, making waves for you to ride, laughing. Go well. Go with no broken bones or viruses in your body or your heart. Go with desert flowers, cacti, holding your hands, their needles bending soft for you under your fingers. Go well. Go with no dis-ease. Go carried on carpets of autumn leaves. Go with laughter, calling, calling, calling you home. And my last one about building, about community. We are building on spider webs, but it's working. Slowly, slowly, step only this way. Careful, careful. This one falls and that one falls, but slowly, slowly we are rising. We are building on volcanoes here, round the bubbles and sinkholes. Careful here, this ground looks stable, but it's just crust really. We are building on red hot, on red hot. We all get burned, battle scars painting songs on our faces, but it's working. Slowly, slowly we are rising. We are building on ghosts here, comrades. Careful of this one's face, careful of that one's mouth. We need to understand what they need now, to build them into our bricks like graffiti so they can still sing, so they can still scream, and we cannot forget. So we can see them clearly, lay flowers before them, and not pretend. Not pretend, because this one fell and that one fell, and these thousands are falling. But we are building. we are building. Thank you all.
Wow, poetry. Let's do another like serious open up and just be excited about the amazing poetry that's happening right now. I want to give folks at home or watching live stream a chance to stretch also. So if you want to stand up and stretch a bit, woo, get it in. This is your time. We're getting ready for the second set. Let me dance it up. Getting the second set ready up, the next set. Okay, so I am happy to introduce our very next open mic poets. All right, also there's a few slots left. Please let me know, especially if you're in the room already. Just message me privately and say, I got a piece that I want to share, whether it's your piece or whether it's a piece that you absolutely love. Please, if you're sharing the space with us, you are more than welcome to join our open mic. So send me a message and let me know if you're interested. All right, our next open mic poet is Torsten. Welcome to our open mic.
Yeah, I'm gonna deliver a poem titled Against All Odds. Yeah, based on a true story. The house that I grew up in was built by two different worlds on two opposite sides of the earth. My father, from the west side of the Berlin Wall, the last of two children with an age gap of 10 years, with a driven passion to mend mechanical horses, tilting and toiling in oil, to plant a living and to harvest joy. My mother, a rough diamond from the landmines of Cullinan, firstborn of 7 children and a second mother to them all, with skills to turn kitchens into soulful feasts and can make your heart feel at home when you are away from it. In 1983, fate brought these two worlds to one place, and it seemed like God had a hand in it, and they were a gift to each other, to get acquainted with each other's feelings. Eyes were set on each other like the sun, and they were each other's beautiful horizon. Their hearts became their ships, guided by the same northern star, setting sail to reach love's shore, looking forward to a lifetime adventure. His colleague was his wingman, aiding him to complete his mission. He was so focused on her that everything in reality became a blur. She tiptoed around him, showing off a timid side, blushing with dazzling cheeks, with feelings reflecting through her eyes. But this relationship took place in an era when hatred was loved, segregation was practiced on the basis of contrast in skins, and they would walk that extra mile with their broken, tested backs to bend and break the laws of men for them to taste their piece of heaven. But still, with faith, they marched on, moving about to keep the love alive, ducking and diving to keep away from the public naked eye. And she would play the maid, and he would be the boss. This became a suitable lunch date in a city apartment. The owners would rat about this illegal love affair to the po-po for them to be caught red-handed. This news traveled fast, which caused a huge domino effect. His cousin disowned him as his tools got packed when he was sacked. And he would disguise himself in a balaclava as she waited for him to arrive at the townships without being noticed. In the dusty streets of Shoshanguve, they met in their sacred means and ways. My grandparents struggled to accept this as it gave them sleepless nights. The neighbors would snitch on them, and they would call the army with ease. It became an immediate war zone as my father's head was kissed by guns, and my mother would cry on the shoulders of heaven, praying in tears, asking death not to steal his soul. At that very same time, they were nursing the firstborn and new seed. People would call their offspring with vile names such as fleas, and they were labeled as a walking sin, a blasphemy to the nation, condemned by lurking eyes and stoned by distant words, but still they were happy and comfortable in each other's skin, fighting the negative with smiles, walking hand in hand. Years later, in a black and white country that became a rainbow nation, they displayed their love, made by the I do's, they said. They painted the streets of Haramkuwa red, with love blossoming in their names, with the blue sky paving a way for brighter days. My father, the Prince Charming of the day, wearing a black and white tuxedo, wearing white gloves with confidence, with a full-blown beard. My mother, the queen of the day, glowing and flowing in a white wedding dress, holding a bouquet of white flowers, a smile as white as her shoes. The marriage hit the front page news, sparked a change in people's hearts, planting hope and light, believing that love can conquer any kind of war. After 31 years of being married, love still breathes with them, sticking together like paper and glue. They managed to see it through the roller coaster ride called life, and against all odds, freedom cemented their love. Thank you very much. One time.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Raya. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Sarah. What a beautiful set. And so before we get into the next set, I just want to remind everybody who's watching, who's listening from wherever you are, and also for the people who aren't going to be watching this right now, for the people who are going to watch it after, like, if you want to donate to the artists, a lot of us have lost a lot of work because of what is happening right now, and so if you want to donate to the artists, please visit our Facebook page on impepho Press. Please also visit our Facebook page for Hear My Voice and for Bridges the Pan-African Movement, Arts Movement, and there will be a donation card that will give you information on how to donate to the artists. And all proceeds, everything that is raised is going to be split amongst the artists who are performing. And so as we prepare for the next lineup, we're going to have a set of poets. This set is wonderful because all three of these people are poets, educators, and creators of space, which is really wonderful. But before I'm going to introduce them, and then I'm going to play a poem. So Holly Bass from, first up we have Q Malewezi from Malawi. And Q is the author of The Road Taken and Little Discoveries. He also has a spoken word CD called People. I say this because I want to encourage you to please purchase his work. If you look on Q's information card, you will see his website and details of how to support him and how to purchase his work. Holly also has a website, and Mandi is also an educator and a curator and a mentor. She's the founder of Poetry Zone ZA, and she also has a book that she co-edited called I Like What I Like, and there is a link as to where you can purchase that book. So please support. This is how we make our living. So if someone has merchandise, we ask that you please, if you like what you hear, go and buy the merchandise. Well, stay at home and buy the merchandise. And so we're going to have Q, and then we're going to have Mandi, and on deck we're going to have Holly Bass. And Holly is I hope I'm saying it right when I say the Cave Canon Poetry Fellow. She's a cultural organizer, and she is based in Washington, D.C. And so if those three poets could please get ready, I'm going to share this poem called Small Girl. Small girl with moths in her mouth, speaks anger and glances, knows the dagger of words. Small girl, big voice, moves in silence, knows how earthquakes begin. In the rumbling of her stomach, entire families collapse. Small girl cares too much, such a small girl. Small girl with treacherous eyes, carries too much feeling in her lungs, knows the sting of lonely. Small girl sees too much, breathes too much, takes up too much air. Small girl is too much mirror and expectation, too much wanting more. Small girl should know better than to try to fight the sun. Small girl with hands of spade. Small girl dreams too much, hopes too much, wants to plant and grow. Small girl thinks she is the ocean. Small girl is a stream. Small girl will break her heart with all the small. Small girl is not even the wind. Small girl must learn to follow and be true. So next up we have Q Malewezi, we have Mandi Vundla following, and we have Holly Bass on.
Hello, greetings from Malawi. I'll read a couple of short poems from my book, Little Discoveries. The first one is titled Assured. They're very short. It is okay to paint over rainbow. Dear child, one day you will learn that some masterpieces are such because of the slip of a brush. Thank you. Second one is bold. You are a fearless ray of light charging through an army of clouds. After all, you were born of sun and spear. Thank you. Last one from the book, Transition. Please be assured that in time, we will understand the colors of each season. As one fades into another, we will no longer wonder whether to mourn the latter or celebrate the new.
Poetry session online.
Thank you.
When it comes to dating, never judge a book by its cover. Everyone's got their own story to tell.
Yeah. Thank you. Someone, I think it's TV. The last one I'll do, anyway, let me just get into it.
Sorry, it's okay. Apologies, Q. Let me just check whose mic is on,
right.
so that we can sort that out. But okay, we seem to be good. Please carry on.
Okay, thank you. It is easy to talk about the strength, beauty, resilience, and other such positive attributes of a woman. The usual feel-good rhetoric that lasts until she makes a mistake, which immediately becomes a black mark on all women's capabilities, because countless times I've heard that Joyce Banda destroyed the chances of a woman ever becoming president. Over 50 years of male leadership, and Malawi is one of the poorest countries in the world, but not even a single statement that insinuates that maleness has failed us. That is our privilege as men. Welcome to a world we have created, infected by a man-made sickness that hides behind culture, education, politics, economics, and God. A world in which I am part of the problem. So instead of weaving colorful words to celebrate women, the right thing to do is to just apologize. So on behalf of myself and all men, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the men that don't feel the need to apologize, because they are the good men, the sincere ones, the exceptions, totally unaware of our privilege. I'm sorry for all the times you've had to work twice as hard as a man for the same opportunities, for the glass ceiling we have placed on your dreams, for dictating which dreams are socially appropriate. I'm sorry for the jobs that are offered based on your husband's jobs, for the ones that hang on if you're planning to have a family or not, for every time your presence is just a requirement to achieve a quota, for us having the expected face of the person in charge only to assume you slept your way to the top when we see yours. I'm sorry for equating the length of your skirt to your character, for opening the car door with expectation that in turn you will open your legs, for the sexual slurs that linger longer than the inappropriate looks because boys will be boys. I'm sorry for dismissing your concerns as nagging, for calling your anger unladylike, for suggesting that our penises are what you need to pacify your aggression. I'm sorry for the sexist expressions, for it must be that time of the month, for fight like a girl, for good for a girl, for legitimate rape, for wearing the pants, for having balls mean courage. I'm sorry for our sense of entitlement to your bodies, for uncles who feel entitled to their nieces because they depend on them, for fathers who feel entitled to their stepdaughters because they are not blood, for men who feel entitled to their maids when their wives are away. I'm sorry for hiding behind culture because that's the way things have always been. For men taking girls yet to be women for wives, for superstition, for baby girls who supposedly cure AIDS. I'm sorry for men like me who expect to be applauded for doing what we're meant to be doing in the first place. For men like me who have shared a light moment or two with your rapists. I'm sorry for every no that was ignored, for the fearful silence taken for consent, for that stupid question, what were you wearing? For you asked for it. I'm sorry for the double standards, for my being the man and you the whore, for losing grip on our fists because you know how I get when you make me angry, for making you the reason we are the way we are because we are men raised by women, for how else do you expect us to be when there are more women than men? I'm sorry for thinking that your existence is only in relation to mine, for not saying this any sooner, for being your voice. I'm sorry for this apology, for it might be the first of many. I'm sorry for its irony, that my fellow men will probably listen to what you have been saying all along, simply because it is now being said by their fellow man. Thank you.
Hello? Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, let me get straight into it. I'm gonna start with my happy poem, and that is a poem I wrote for Gogo Esther Mahlangu, which is called For Gogo Esther Mahlangu. You are an ancient art of survival, passed down from the soil, mixed with water, your mother's blood, cow dung, her mother's blood. The generational patterns you trace with chicken feathers are a ritual for the dead, food for the living, a warrior's prayer to keep our traditions safe. There are no rulers, Gwandebele, you said. The power of a straight line was passed down in a straight line from grandmother to mother to child. Do you see just how powerful we are? Without their English, your designs can articulate themselves. And even in the absence of maths, you can already calculate one angle from the next because you've already dreamt the dimensions. You are regal proof. Our genius is no myth spun into tales. You are here, unerased, so no one can claim to have discovered the feather that drew the straight line that created Ndebele art. You've left incantations on the walls of museums where our bodies were once held as collector's items. You, a cleansing ceremony, passed down from the soil, mixed with water, your mother's blood, cow dung, her mother's blood. God is painting our world anew with you in his hand, an old sacred brush. Though your bristles have wrinkled, the lines are still generations straight. The next one I'm going to go into, is Blackout. I don't know how to burn tires. I've never thrown bones to avenge our dead. Our wombs are still their hungry dogs. My writer's block crumbles into rocks, and I throw poems at high voltage voice for power cut boys whose hearts are beaten off the earth. This is shock therapy for lives flashing by like the fading breath of a torch. When batteries run out of blood in the dirt, we lose our energy. Candles run out of black bodies to mourn. The Black Down syndrome is a shortage of light in the spirit. When the load won't shed its privilege, we become the flames. Our pupils are lit students chasing blood off degrees. I watched a hashtag grow feet from the academic roots of a lynched out tree. Fresh plucked cards were raising the dead like leaves, because our history is a jumping spirit whose body cannot rest without freedom. Black lives are dead matter coming back to life from the jawline of a street where your mouths keep running us over because you don't see race. Post-mortem, you pretend to not know the cause of our death. When we trace our bloodline from your power cables to bring you light, do not short circuit, do not black out. And then I'm gonna do my last one, called A Love Song for Miriam. Dear Miriam, I am holding the keys to your songs in my hands. I know you opened the world with a mouth full of teeth clinging to the border. You held the click of our bones in the twist of your tongue, you electrifying song, burning through skin and bone when you sing. Salt water seeps through your throat, sterilizes our bones, soaks all our stones, and all our blood returns with a pulse to its people. You are a war cry. Miriam, I am holding the keys to your songs in my hands. I know you opened the world with a mouth full of teeth clinging to the border. You held the click of our bones in the twist of your tongue, you electrifying song, burning through skin and bone when you sing. Salt water seeps through our throats, sterilizes our bones, soaks all our stones, and all our blood returns with a pulse to its people. You made music like you were making a war cry for its mother tongue, though home was a distant wounded storm. You sang for the hurricane gushing through our bones. You gave noise a quiet voice for grieving, a gentle blues for the descendants of a noose, for jumping jacks, for kings and queens of solitaire. I hope you rest in the music you gave our country. Is still a bleeding tune. We do not sing the way we sang along to you, Miriam. You may be gone in the song of bone and the music of drying flesh. Your organs may have stopped playing. Your body is mute, but the music hasn't stopped breathing for you. Thank you.
I bring you greetings from Washington, D.C., and I'm wearing purple lipstick in honor of my friend Vengi Gansho. So the lip color is for you, girl. And thanks also to Ishmael and Wema. I just have 2 poems to share. Last month, which kind of feels like 6 months ago. It's like, oh yeah, February was last month. I went to the hospital for a fibroids procedure, and I'm fine and well, but I wrote this poem for the nurses who were taking care of me at night, and it seemed fitting as well to honor all of the folks who are currently working in this medical global crisis. So this poem, it's very much in the fashion of Neruda. It's called Ode to the night nurse. Ode to the night nurse. Praise to the pastel scrubs, to the comfortable shoes that make no sound as you walk the halls. Praise the subtle door knock, quick as clockwork. Give thanks for the soothing voices, lilting whispers rich with the cadence of each one's country of origin. India, the Philippines, Northeast DC. Praise to the pre-warmed stethoscope, the well-trained hands gathering pulse, blood pressure, temperature, the body's vital rhythm in a heartbeat. Praise for your discretion, the head tilted slightly away, the urine quickly collected with no trace of shame. Give thanks to the ones whose names are forgotten in the haze of pain meds administered at regular intervals. Praise for the explanations of what is happening now and what will happen next. For you, I give thanks. For you, I wish foot rubs at the end of long shifts and long hugs from little sleepyheads safe at home. I wish you easy patience and doctors who respect your expertise. I wish you a small sliver of grace, a small sliver of the grace you offer each of us in your care. May the cafeteria coffee always be hot and strong and fresh. May you experience deep rest when finally you lay down your head after the long hours, and dreams that sweetly fortify you for the next long night ahead. And then for my second poem, this is an oldie. It's from, I think, 2010 or 2011, like when the Occupy movement was happening in DC. You know, intellectually, like we live in a police state, but it's different than to sort of when the matrix disappears and suddenly you actually see all of the tanks and the machine guns and the helicopters, and they become more visible at certain moments. I think this moment is also kind of like that, as we sort of witness the throes of capitalism under attack and how it reacts to that. So the style of this poem is called a bop, which is created by a file weaver, and it's a type of blues or lament, and it has a song refrain that goes through the poem in a particular structure. So it's an African-American contemporary poetry form called the bop. You can Google it and write your own. This is called A Revolutionary Movement of Air. You've changed. You're not the man that I once knew. No need to tell me that we're through. It's all over now. You've changed. It was the summer when all the sisters started rocking fans. Some homemade and decadent. I think someone needs to mute. Okay. It was the summer when all the sisters started rocking fans, some homemade and decadent, others store-bought and refined, and it wasn't necessarily especially hot. This is Washington after all, melted chocolate city. The fans were the necessary accoutrement for a summer that was more than human nights in high sun. It was the last times, and what little bit of freedom left was slowly ebbing away. You've changed. Your kisses now are so blasé. You're bored with me in every way. It's all over now. You've changed. You see, the women still love the city, but the city no longer loved them back. The air had turned against them, the very air. It was happening in every quadrant, north, south, west, and east. But the sisters felt it first, smelled hints of iron and water-heavy air, noticed the rumblings of otherwise functional air conditioners. So they fashioned amulets of feather, balsa, Spanish lace, sage tea softened, set in the sun to dry. You've forgotten the words, I love you, each memory that we've shared. You ignore every star above you. I can't realize you ever cared. These fluttering Gabriels offered no small salvation in difficult times. While all about them were losing their heads, the women stayed Kipling cool, and they fanned, a vigil of moving hands, beating the air with such fragile elements. It was not vanity or luxury. It was any means necessary. It was liberty and justice for all, sweet freedom crowding out chaos, a small antidote to hate and war, love in its simplest shape. It was a revolutionary movement of air. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly. I know Wayma is going to tell us who our next performer is.
Yes, yes, yes. I am so happy to welcome everyone back to the open mic section of our World Poetry Day, virtual World Poetry Day. Thank you so much for everyone who's participated so far. I mean, this mic is fire. I can't believe it. It is so hot. All over the world, we're sharing poetry, and it is life affirming. It is life-giving, and it is everything. So thank you so much, poets that have shared so far. Thank you for the poets that are next up. Woo! I just have to breathe. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So everyone take a nice deep breath in wherever you are and breathe it out. Let's get ready for what's next up. We have our open mic poet, and that is Thembile. Welcome to the mic. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Please, can you, Thokoza Gogo, please can you unmute your mic? We can't hear you. There's some sound there. No, we can't hear you. Is your mic is actually, it's muted. So Ishmael, maybe you can help her by unmuting her mic. Okay, just try speak now.
I have unmuted it. Unfortunately, it seems that there's no feedback in the microphone at all.
Okay, so maybe what we can try and do is we can ask you to log on and then log off and then log on again and try connect your mic, and then we will make sure that you still get a chance to share in the open mic. Is that okay? Because we really want to hear you. Okay, thank you. And as we're sorting that out, we're going to move on to the next set. And I'm really excited about the set. I'm excited about all these sets. I think that we have an incredible lineup. And also, again, I want to say thank you to all the poets who have come on board. You guys could have been doing absolutely anything, and you chose to put your bums on chairs and look at a screen for 3 hours. And so we really appreciate that. We don't take your time for granted, and we know that you know there's a lot going on, and so we appreciate your words, we appreciate your energy, we appreciate your time, and we thank you. I would also like to say a special thank you to, there's a young woman named Antonelli Sinopoli. She is an Italian woman who is based in Ghana right now, and she is part of a movement called Afro Women Poetry, the Female Universe in the Changing Africa. And she's been, she heard about what we're doing and she immediately jumped on and said she would like to see how she can help, and she did exactly that. And so we want to acknowledge her as a collaborator and just say thank you, because this is how we grow. We're not islands, and I think now more than ever we are aware of how we are not islands as people. We are deeply connected, and so we are thankful for everyone who has put their hands on deck. So in the next set we have Mac Manaka. Oh, there's Antonella right now. Hi, Antonella. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you've been doing with us.
Oh, thank you to all of you. And I hope that we'll start a good cooperation all together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, so next up we have Mac Manaka from South Africa, and then he will be followed by Alexandra Lolita from Angola, and on deck we will have Lebo Mashile from South Africa. Mac Manaka is the author of 4 collections, If Only, In Time, Flowers of a Broken Smile, and Oncoming Traffic. And you can purchase these books by going to Macmanaka at live.com. Alexandra Lolita from Angola is the author of, I've been practicing and I've been trying. Koraswam Ashadu. I know I have completely butchered it. It's in Portuguese, and I'm so sorry. But on her information card, there is the information on what the title of the book is and where you can get it. And then Lebo Mashile is the author of a play called Modernity, The Life of Sarah Bachman. She's also the author of In a Ribbon of Rhythm and Flying Above the Sky. Furthermore, she has 2 live. Oh wow, how long have I been muted for? Okay, so we heard that did you hear Mac Manaka? Did you hear Elizabeth?
I heard that, yeah.
And then did you hear Lebo Mashile? Lebo Mashile is the author of Modernity and Life. Modernity, The Life of Sarki Batman. She is also the author of In a Ribbon of Rhythm and of Flying Above the Sky. She has 2 CDs out called Lebo Mashile Live and Moya, and you can purchase these by emailing matima@gmail.com, matimap@gmail.com. I say this again because it's so important now more than ever. If you want to support artists, buy their merchandise. If someone has a book, if someone has a CD, if you love what you hear, please buy their merchandise. And also, if you're feeling generous, please feel free to donate. So up next, we have Mac Manaka, then we have Alexandra Lolita, and then we have Lebo Mashile on deck. Thank you.
Hey, Tara. Dumelang. This is to Malume Philip Tabane, Lenyora. And this is a prayer to Haman Skral. It's a prayer to the waterless. Kikopa metsi, kikopa metsi, aunwa kikopa. Baile, baile, it's very Sedila kanka pese pula kinyorule letlalo. Mu ke madi, madi ke botlhoko. Lefatshe ke metsi, metsi ke botshelo. Botshelo ke losu. Gae. Badimo, re nyorilwe, re kopa metsi. Go tlogela maupa In every home, there's a city. In every city, there's a ghetto with street corners that promise no tomorrow, where shallow hearts play malicious dice and cards, where the lost life stuck on the quicksand of money and drugs. 7 years, a bullet, 7 years, a bulletin, 7 years, a bullet shattered by rocks of anger, sheltered by rocks of anger. Mudimu. Must I sleep my way to the clouds just to see me fly? While the never sleeping stars of my poetry taught me how to spread peanut butter and poetry on my heart and prostitute these words to the sun. Because memory is the weapon and the pen is my shepherd, I shall not fear. Though in every home a black sheep is born with 2 ears, so let it face the music, because many of us were taught, because many of us forgot how to listen. We suppress love and sacrifice our passion. Sometimes it's hard being a parent. Perception has no close friends, because the city swallows hopes and chokes on dreams that echo a future with no coke. A future where my street address is number 32 Zimbabwe Street, Fella Town. Oh, now. Though fading pictures of Bantu's art still echo that future, because many of us were taught how to forget. If only we could learn how to respect, because the African dream is an emancipated state of mind. So in every home, there's a city. In every city, a ghetto child survives the ghetto dream of fame and money. This is a poem for all the Black leaders in Africa and the presidents too, who seem to be leading Black people back to slavery. Titled, "Oh Captain, My Captive." The title was inspired by Walt Whitman's "Oh Captain, My Captain." Oh Captain, my Captain, our fears have come. The last call is here. Our unpaid languages flood the bar with homeless beers lubricating volcanoes in our brains. There are not enough blue glasses to hold whiskey clouds when the emptiness rains from the ground. There are no more poems. There are no more poems, tower, my tower. There are no more poems for you to drink. My pockets have run out of ink. Oh, Captain, my captive, the fearless journey has begun. I am tired of drinking my cows. When will you let go of my tomorrow? Jeez. Oh, river inside the sand. Oh, river inside the sand. Where have the waters from the mountain gone? Where are the love letters from the sky? My feet yearn to drink the wine of days I have never lived. Where are the women? Where, oh, where are the women? No men, just women, because men do not, men no more. And so I want to women and no blood. Swara. I want to women like my grandmother and teach without teaching. Learn to find love and sacrifice, but never for a lover who cannot love. Whose dance will the dust speak of when our drums forget the cows in our tongues?
who will circumcise the foreskins of patriarchy from these little boys, who will shelter Daddy's little girl from society's regal image of fatherhood, especially when a father's hook vacuums a little girl's brook until she jumps with umbilical cords tied around her neck, trying to forget, oh river inside the sand, oh river inside the sand, please take me back to my mother's womb. Yagoba, take me back to my mother's womb and teach me to listen to the quiet again. This country, this village, this world of broken flowers is louder than death. I am even afraid to listen to myself. Itara. The biggest crisis that has been happening is that we've been indebted for so long, you know. So this exploitation rubbish must stop. The pandemic ultimately is the debt collectors, you know. So this is a poem for my woman, titled 9 to 5. The sun mumbles its way past the thick layer of taxi rank laughter and cuts into the melanin of migrant bees, shuffling through the bittersweet blues of yesterday's news. Wingless birds sing of cages running on borrowed muscle, the sultry struggle of the mid-month hustle, wobbling wheels weighing time. Traffic is life at this corner of sunrise. 9 to 5, 5 to cloud 9, through the debts, past the heat of long lines, from Monday to December. From Monday to December, endless orders, endless debit orders crutch on my lover's legs and tombstones her face. At the blackest sound just before the sun stumbles past humble curtains, I watch my lover once more swallow the music of death. For Lesotho Rampoloke and Thabo, actually for all the artists rather, because all you do as an artist is to hurry up and wait. Even after you've sent your invoice 6 months, you know, so we are used to this virus. It's not corona, this virus has been there, really. The poem is titled Waiting for Sanity. Yes, Nana, you are so right. The canvas is patient. The canvas is patient. It anticipates the waiting. It knows how to wait. The violent waiting of a promise and the two-faced silence that comes with patience. The canvas remembers. It waits for walls to remember the waiting of a lie and the masks behind the waiting. Ha! The canvas bleeds the patience of always waiting, waiting to swallow the sleepless hunger in the eyes of its infant colors, waiting to be called, waiting for money that has no legs, waiting for days that cannot stand, waiting for a shot that cannot warm the soul, waiting, always waiting. Later.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to start with, the book is Coração Achado. You said it fine. You said it right, Mandi. This poem is called Familiar Faces. Familiar faces, facing fears. Fearing foreign factors, factorizing foreign fears, ears, eyes, nose, mouth, and skin, all excessively insufficient from within. Familiar faces facing familiar fears, fear of the familiar, face to face, it's like a race, space and time, loud mime, spacing out common rhymes, and time ticks faster in my head than between our encounters. Time separates will from action, compassion lost in the space between the times. Familiar faces in time, wasting tears and rhymes, racing face to face against space-time. Alone we cannot win. Ears, eyes, nose, mouth, and skin, all too frail to determine the strength within. Looking for familiar faces in foreign factors and finding factors of familiar fear instead. And time ticks faster in our head than between our encounters. So what keeps us here? It is passion and time that separates will from action. Time is action. Space needs action. We are faces in fractions, familiar captions of time. Our willpower leaves a trace, and it's our common tool and face. I can be yours, you can be mine, we can be one. We've still got time. Thank you. Next up is a poem from the book. It's called My Flying Coat, and it's very old. I was a teenager when I wrote it. In the waking mornings of cold corpses, it now stands out tall, torn, burned, creased. By my flying coat, my trapped soul is now released. Through all the thunders and storms, it flew me to safety and past the many envious hands reaching to destroy it. In all this confusion, struggle, and exhaustion, my flying coat flies above all. Like in a deep sleep, I was hidden. I thought I didn't have one, but my flying coat was created by those who persisted in all the harm. Now that I stand up, now that I dust it off, now that I no longer cry, I hear the sound of it waving in the wind. The hymn of warriors now plays for me. Stars are finally placed on my shoulders. I put on a dignifying suit filled with the attitude of a winner that covers this ragged skin of so many lost battles. And my flying coat stands out tall. In the midst of combat, I have been a constant loser. In the mix of my emotions, love was the main intruder. I cannot believe I've walked across the fire. As I step on the pedestal, tears of fatigue roll down my face, and I look back at the scorched path I've just walked on, and with a silent breeze that brushes off the pain and brings back regrets, my flying coat flies with pride and dignity. No more disillusion, no more rejection. Let me clean my coat. After recurrent bombarding by my subsequent failures of the simple attempt to happiness, I now bow to myself and fix my coat just right. Let me adjust my feelings and put on the forgotten coat just tight. It doesn't matter whether I persistently hit a wall. If in the end my flying coat will stand out tall, it forever holds for me a constant war. I will fight all battles in a permanent reviving, because this one I have won by surviving. And this other poem is called Chocolate. The aroma spreads through the room. We try to hide it. Needless to say, it's all we consume. Delicious, malicious, impeccable. There is no way of resisting. We're not capable. With strawberries, we ripen the taste, taking to a whole new level its uses with no haste. Curvy the shape, sweet the taste, soft the touch. I want more, no matter how much. Addictive, contradictive, unstoppable. We take more of it. It's incurable. Some say it's hindering, others say it's overrated. All I can say is that with you, this habit has perpetuated. So many flavors, too much to choose from. I'll do myself a favor and enjoy every single form. You and I make the best of it. Joining our good taste, the result is deliciously explicit. Good to bite on, awesome to lick. Slowly we eat the centenary recipe made of cocoa and heat. I love your chocolate and you love mine. Together we make something simple, truly divine. And then I'm gonna say two poems quickly in Portuguese for the people that speak Portuguese and are listening, which is the language we speak here in Angola. And then this poem is about the fact that our human body is shaped like a hug. It's shaped in the form to accept hugs, and we don't usually acknowledge that. It's called Anatomia do Abraço. O meu corpo tem formato de abraço, mas eu nem sempre sei aproveitar o espaço que vai do meu braço ao barco de aço que me poderia levar ao teu rítmico compasso. Às vezes desperdiço-me em toques apertados e sorrisos vastos, em troca de orgulhos e contratos sociais nefastos. Vou ao ginásio, cubro-me de riquezas e belezas, mas sujo-me, desuso-me, desconecto-me de mim, desparafuso-me, iludo-me. O meu propósito desfaço se não uso a minha anatomia para o abraço. O nosso torso é amplo e vasto, temos um tórax já quase gasto de tantos encostos e encaixados rostos que soluçaram amarguras e estouraram desgostos. A natureza me poderia ter feito estreita, incapaz de encaixar os teus medos aqui comigo, insensível e sem precisar de um ombro amigo, dura, áspera e fria. Mas não. Ela me fez humana e macia, capaz de curar com um beijo no rosto e de te injetar vitamina vida com um abraço dado com gosto. E eu gosto de ser mensageira de carinho, alongar as minhas asas e transformar-me em asas que te levem à calmaria. Usa o meu corpo para curar a tua tristeza, usa as minhas mãos para te afagar todos os dias. Aqui, entre o meu ombro e o meu pescoço, cabe a tua cabeça que carrega os teus esforços. Encosta, enfrenta, enquadra, encaixa, relaxa. Porque ser humano é fazer-se presente, é sentir compaixão, é estar à disposição, é oferecer-se alma e corpo, ser alicerce, ser porto. Para que me servem as mãos, não para te acariciar. O que é o meu corpo, senão máquina de amar? Eu não sou mais do que antídoto para a tua dor. Por isso, não importam os espinhos na flor. Seja veículo de amor. E finalmente, and finally, Omega Centauri. Na imensidão de um momento, vislumbro os meus destroços reluzidos em hipnotizantes cores. Cada um contando meio conto de uma toda história. Eles enfeitam-se uns aos outros. Perfazem o plano de fundo de uma supernova inevitável e trazem esperança na mesma medida que levam os vestígios da colisão. Naqueles idos anos-luz, despedacei-me em requinte, esmigalhei-me em estrelas, mais de 1000, todas da magnitude do meu universo interior. Tornei-me mais de mim espalhando nessa galáxia. Tornei-me mais cor no universo negro. No silêncio deste aglomerado de astros, revejo-me em pequenos, quase espelhos, reflexos, complexos, retroflexos, lindamente conexos. Ao longe vejo o aglutinado de sonhos, compilando a arte das nossas ligações em tela de belezas. E ao perto, o caos, o potencial e nada mais. Somos todos um autêntico acontecimento em simultâneo, brilhando nossas mágoas astronômicas com olhos que se encontraram neste eterno viver momentâneo. Em jeito de recomeço, fragmento-me em vedetas, componho-me no aglomerado de ômega, para que na maturidade do reencontro eu morra cometa. Obrigada. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm gonna do 2 poems for you. My name is Lebo Mashile. The first poem is called This Morning. This morning rolls in with rain shadows and a cool voice crisply shaking the last of winter's whirlwinds to a standstill. There will be no pain this morning. It has been sucked into the sky from the other side of forever, where the ghosts of our former selves will bind their dreams from its sinew. Their tears keep our dreams from falling apart. This morning, the gods have shown us their teeth. We grin and violently shiver into one another. Eyes closed, mouths open, hands tied to tomorrows and yesterdays and promises we may never, ever keep. This morning, I present myself to the light that bounces from iced people, to the chills that shape a human body into a human being when truth melts the warm spots. To every person spinning in a moment forgotten, except for the most searing touches of love, we are bare teeth glistening. Winter mornings hoping that somewhere past forever, the world is listening. I believe the soul is crafted by this physical terrain. And every string remembers us. They call us by our names. I believe that we are fashioned by the fragile balance between love and pain. When your thread breaks, do you piece it together? Or do you fight change and remain the same? The threads that bind us to our dreams, the threads that lead us to our goals, the threads with which we weave our dreams, the threads that tie us to our fears, the needles that pierce our hearts with sorrow, the threads that link us to our pasts, the threads we climb to reach our futures, the threads we break in violent acts, the threads that bind us. When your thread breaks, do you piece it together? Or do you fight change and remain the same? We've come to the edge. Don't stare at the precipice too long. After all the bets are hedged, the future's fabric is formed by the hearts of the strong. The ledge is scary. Our legs are weary. And the fall to the bottom is long. How do you rise when you've never flown before? How do you believe in wings that are half formed? Quilted wings are made of discarded scraps. We sew the shards of forgotten memories into a mental map, one that disarms the limbs of envy every time it attacks, one that propels us into flying forward when the wind forces us back. We are heading towards the exploding star that heralds the end of days. We're shedding the traps of ill-fitting norms, experimenting with the lines formed when you break form. We have entered the time when work is love, and love is a product of play. These are the hours to reach for what is worth rising for. These are the hours when visions are made. These are the hours that every human being can create. These are the hours when the past is a shape-shifting canvas and today is ours to make. These are the hours when choice cannot be denied. Responsibility is a dare we take. These are the hours when the lines of lies are no longer concealed. The cloak of smoke is exposed to be fake. No one stands up for those who choose to take a stand. No one holds you or consoles you. No one grabs your hand. All you get is what was gotten by those who've gone before you. One single silken strand. The pearl of owning that you dived into what had to be done. You listened to your heart's command.
What? Amazing, 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 amazing. Oh, wow. I'm so moved by all this poetry. It is just everything. Okay, so of course, if you see me, you know that the open mic is coming up next, but I want to remind folks that are listening through live stream to donate, to donate, to donate. We have so many different ways. You can donate through Venmo. You can donate through Cash App. You can donate through PayPal. You can donate through that quick way. What is that thing called in South Africa? I'm sorry. It's like a direct phone thing that you can donate. There's so many different ways, and we are sharing these donations with all of the poets here today. So please, 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 if you don't know how to donate, please just say, hey, how do I donate? And we'll let you know. But please feel free to do that. It's like, just like you come into a room, come into a space to listen to poetry, it's like, what would you give at the door for this amazing time with poetry today? Just think of it that way. If you gave $5, if you give 20 Rand, if you give 100 Rand, if you give in whatever currency you have, we are so happy to share it with these poets right now, especially as so many have lost many of their gigs and performances that were just keeping them afloat. So please, 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 let's donate, let's give, let's be generous in our giving. I just want to shout out a couple of folks that did give. As I mentioned before, Petira Rahopala gave $50, and Toko Mandodo, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, donated 150 Rand. As more donations come in, please, please, please let me know, because I will shout you out. I will thank you. Okay, so next up we have our open mic, and we have the wonderful, I'm gonna just check my list here, right here. The wonderful and the amazing Mamo Diyehi. I hope I did that well. Mamo Diyehi, you're up next.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, good. Hey. The first piece I'm going to share with you today is called Sobriety. Sobriety. It can be so many things, like losing your new self to the old just to be you again. Tracing your footsteps in the crack of dawn to find your way home. A state of likening yourself to a Lucifer, repenting to become an angel again. Or awaking from a crazed days after navigating the maze in an attempt to find the self you lost in that very same days that set your heart ablaze, only to leave it shattered and scattered into a billion pieces. It can be your bravery to withstand being crucified, knowing well you are not Christ. It can simply be licking your gaping wounds clean or rubbing salt to them, just to return to yourself pure and healed. It can simply be licking your gaping wounds clean or rubbing salt to them, just to return to yourself pure and healed. The second.
Thank you so much, Sissy. Thank you so much for your poetry, and thank you for being with us. Thank you to the previous poet. I'm like, you know, there's something to be said about being able to sit in your own house, in your own space, in your wherever you are, and to be connected with people across oceans, across mountains, and to share poetry and to feel so connected, like as in to genuinely feel like you are touching people, which is an amazing experience, especially now because I've been at home for like since like as in not leaving the house because I can't take my baby outside, and so I really miss human contact and so I'm just talking about how filling and how beautiful this is. So before we get into our last set, and then we're gonna go into the remaining open mics, I just want to ask everybody to unmute their mics and to just like clap, say yay for poetry, please.
Yay!
Oh, wow. I love this.
Yay!
Yay! Yay!
Mute your mics again. Thank you.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay!
Also, I hope that the people who are live streaming can also get a sense of how many people there are. I mean, we heard that there are over 180 people live streaming on Hear My Voice alone, but we've got a whole number. I don't have it right now. People streaming on impepho Press. We've got people streaming from Bridges. And so we've got a lot of people gathered here in the name of poetry. And so I don't take this lightly. I know that, we're learning, we're growing, and who knows, maybe we'll do this again and we'll do it better because we will know better. But for now, I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. And I'm saying thank you to the wonderful poets who have given their time to be here with us. And so, in our last set, we have Claire Trevian, a British poet. We have Tony Giselle Stewart, the South African poet. We have Tolu Agbelusi. Agbelusi, yes, I said it. I hope I said it right. Tolu is a Nigerian UK poet, and we have Aja Monet, who's a Caribbean American poet. So Claire has a pamphlet called Brain Fag through Verve Poetry Press, and she has a book called Astronomy. And if you find her on social media, and if you look at her little information card, you'll be able to find out how you can purchase Claire's books and Claire's work, and you can follow her. Please support Claire. Tony is a poet, a performer, spoken word educator. She has a master's from Goldsmith, and she's the founder of Athlon Poets. And okay, so we have someone just put the spotlight back on me, so that we can carry on. Okay, great. So Tony is on Patreon, and you can actually subscribe and donate and become a patron of her work. She's an amazing writer and just an all-round beautiful soul. And Tolu is a poet, a playwright, and an educator. And she is interested in the unperformed self of womanhood and art living. And then finally, Aja. Aja is a Caribbean American poet and community organizer. Her book, My Mother Was a Freedom Fighter, from Hypermarket Books, was nominated for an NAACP. And if you go to Aja's website, you'll be able to find out how you can purchase the book, but also how you can support Aja. And so all of this is to say that first up we have Claire Trevian, and then we will have Tony Giselle Stewart, and on deck we will have Tolu Agbelusi, and we will have Aja Monet close us off. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is so much nicer than being at a poetry reading in a way, because you're in the comfort of your own home. You've got your wine. I mean, I love it. Need more of that. So I'm going to read a couple of new poems, if that's all right. So this first one, well, the title's the first line, so I'm just going to go for it. That was the summer that slates fell off my body like dandruff. Every brick of me dismantled and scattered. I found my arm in the roof of a church. The neighbors collected my fingernails and brought them to me in a glass jar for when the time is right. That summer exploded my insides out. Was I the city? I felt myself in every street, but nowhere either. My blood was draining down the pavements with the rain. Each bullet in the wall echoed back into my skin. I poked my bones. All of us haunted down the streets looking for our missing limbs. The weather grew so angry within us, we started spitting hail. Every Tuesday to the market, we gull gathered from stall to stall. It was a miracle, the way our legs could carry us from place to place, our wings clipped and useless. We opened our mouth to speak, and only rain came out, dull, grey, roof-like. We are forgetting the names of colours, the way they used to bubble out of the bodies and wriggle through the windows. Our footprints leave ash, if anything at all. We must press ourselves into the very walls, hide our feathers from them. A flash of red and all is lost. There is still so much to lose. So this next one is called Every Kitchen on the Move, and it goes out to anybody who's, you know, had to share a kitchen with housemates who aren't always, yeah, great. Every kitchen on the move. In time, all kitchens blur as one, connected by a countertop that shifts from wiped down white to speckles, from solid slabs of oak to now this, false concrete poured onto your hands as you look out of a window that shifts to a different marble of walls and rooftops and skies. Always the kettle. A mug slides from one kitchen to another, impossibly intact. Remembers your lips as the lights from one kitchen turn on, turn off, or flicker. The door is open. The door is closed. The door has been eased off its hinges and thrown into the tip. It leads to your bedroom, a corridor, an exit. Always the internal timer before your housemate, leery or bored, emerges from his or her bedroom. You slide the pizza in a practice swipe from oven to plate, sneak back to your room with your precious cargo to sit in front of your laptop. You know your body cannot take this choreography much longer. Needs to be slow cooked. The microwave pings in several cities at once. The microwave pings in rooms that are here and not here. And the tap goes on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. And I thought I'd just read two short poems from my pamphlet, Brain Fugue. This first one is, I was in a weird writing retreat and somebody asked me if I was, you know, sick or sad, and I was like, can't it be both? So, sick or sad? Since we cannot speak of the landscape of the crowd, how it turns from hot to cold in a blink, drains my veins dry, makes my body a ghost of itself, you ask me if my absence was due to being sick or sad. I use the euphemism not well to blanket over the trees, the hills, the path that stops being a path, the carpet of burnt leaves catching the wheels of trains, the snow duvet that protects the flowers or kills them. I can never remember which it is. My sadness is sick. My sickness is sad. My sadness has been unplugged from triggers you could relate to and lives in a different city now. My sickness is so connected to my sadness that I cannot tell you which is the chicken, which is the egg. Here is an ankle, sprained after it gave way on a flat surface like plastic lit by lighter. See how it sent my sadness flying and cracked its screen. Here is my stomach, full of rams, fighting about fleeing. And then just one last poem, which kind of based on a conversation I had with a friend quite soon after I was raped. And he told me, oh, I hope you're not going to write a poem about that. It's so cliche. So I had to write this. It's called Daytime Drinking Brain. I hope it doesn't end up in one of your poems, he says. Give me a coaster, give me, and I will create. Strange confetti, a dagger. Rape is so cliche. Oh, I had a bad experience. And now it fills all my words, with paralysis and smoke, and the trauma of it. Yes, I agree. Quite enough. Already from others. The pub is intricate like a chocolate box and a box, just as lacking. And you came back and wrong. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to read one poem that is also a bit of a story, and it feels as though it's almost in conversation with Vangile's small girl. And Vangile has this line in Red Cotton, a brewing storm of small girls coming. And this poem definitely feels like that. The fire blazes. The women are singing, low, long moans send their bodies careening against the southeaster. The sound is unsettling. The wind stings their faces, but they do not flinch. They shake as they sit, swaying as their moans grow louder and louder. The flames crack as they eat through the logs of wood in the center of the stone circle. A woman stands up. She is old but strong. She moves slowly, without help from a stick or hand. She unfurls her chest to reach her full height. The old woman's eyes are clear, sunk, but alive in a face that is solid soft with the memory of all time. She stands in silence, neither waiting nor expectant. No one moves. All the other women turn their heads toward her and keep their eyes lowered. The old woman laughs, loud and hard and raw. It starts in her throat and then moves to her belly. She shakes and laughs, but her feet do not move. Her laugh moves again. The girl traces it with her eyes from the center of the navel, shaking, laughing, shaking, trickles down to her womb. When it arrives there, a cry breaks from her throat, a laughter more dangerous and exhilarating than any of their ears have heard. The ground trembles slightly beneath the old woman's shaking. The old woman claps once and the women stand. She claps twice and they drop their hands to their sides. She claps 3 times and the women snap their heads to the left. Not an eyelash twitches. The women breathe, but their chests do not rise and fall with air. The old woman throws her head back and releases a cackle into the obsidian night. The sound covers them like rain. And then without warning, it stops. The silence is as oppressive as the old woman's laugh is invigorating. The woman runs her eyes over all the women once without ever meeting their eyes. The old woman whispers a single word, barely audible. Sing. A single voice sings a single note, until seamlessly two voices are singing two notes, and three voices are singing three notes, and on, until each woman is singing a different note beyond the 8 notes in an octave, and not a single note is out of harmony. They hold their notes on and on, 4 beats, 8 beats, 16 beats, 32 beats without stopping for breath. The girl watches, her mouth wide with silence, her skin raw with listening. The old woman stands silent through the singing. 64 beats, 128 beats, and still the women do not stop for breath. The girl watches. Her mind is empty with listening. Her skin is raw with forgetting. 256 beats, the girl watches. Her mind is open. Her skin is remembering. 512 beats, and the women's thighs begin to tremble. They sing on, head still turned to the left. The girl watches until the trembling thighs make her own thighs tremble. She closes her eyes to forget about her legs. She closes her eyes to turn her ears to the singing. She feels the ground begin to tremble with their trembling. She feels the ground begin to tremble with her trembling, until her mouth shoots open and a single note erupts. Her mind is empty with sound. Her skin is raw with remembering. Her note is unlike any of the other notes. Her note is not out of harmony with the other notes. 4 beats, 8 beats, 16 beats. Her thighs tremble even more. 32 beats, 64 beats, 128 beats. The girl closes her eyes harder. Her mind is only sound. Her skin is only remembering. 256 beats. The girl feels the ground drink in her trembling legs. They tremble on. 512 beats. Her mind is only remembering. Her skin is only sound. 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 Only sound. The old woman stands still, silent, watching. The circle of women erupt into a single moving lake, stomping into the ground over and over again, as if digging, as if grinding their very selves into the sand. It does not give way beneath them. They stomp on. They grind on. The circle moves as one. 1 leg, 1 foot, 1 leg, 1 foot. The old woman stands still, smiles. On and on into the night. The singing continues. The dancing continues. The sky turns from black nothing into an indigo sheet with holes of light. Indigo inks into the deep navy before dawn. The deep navy seeps away, leaking from the sky until there is only cobalt. The old woman sits down. The singing stops. The first whisper of light seeps into the cobalt. The old woman nods. The women sit down. All is silent. We who burned the night into being. We who laughed the light into the night. We who sung the dark into recess. We who danced the dawn into being, all with a single note. Beware our wombs.
Wow. Yeah, this poem is in honor of all the women who fought for freedoms in countries where boys now say they want women of tradition, and mean by that a woman who has no fight in her. It is called. All of this is true, and this too is tradition. Before theorists before actions were clothed in isms, before the colonizer brought with him a plague of codified female suppression, our foremothers made war. What do you call it? When a collective of women pound a violent man's door with pestles, rip down his roof, weave his name into songs that leave no doubts as to their grievance, songs that shame him, into contrition, into promises to do better. What is it if not a weapon when the women always showed up this way if just one was mistreated? And when the man is the colonizer, imposing power where it did not belong, diminishing the women's voices to whispers, like it was in his own country. Did the women not send those whispers abroad, across towns, nurse them into strategies, show up in 10,000s, chant their demands, even as they burned the courts that would not see them, bearing their breasts with self-assurance? Because what is a naked female body if not a weapon to eyes who wish it invisible? What do you call it? When a lone woman buys all the salt in her area, sells it only to women who will come together because she knows it's the end of the war. And even a reluctant husband will push his wife into her hands after a few bland meals, forgetting the salt was only ever part of the bargain, forgetting the strength that builds when women gather. What do you call it? When women storm a prison, demand to see the body of their sister, the one they know is dead, for daring to reject sexual advances. What is it if not a weapon? When their bodies take up space and refuse anything less than a reckoning until the body is unearthed, the murderer in jail. What is it if not war? When women, thousands of them, striding comfortably in their agency, chant, "If you like us, the knife will cut the yam. If you don't like us, the knife will still cut the yam." When they did this, did the king not abdicate in the end? There have always been women in my bloodline hungry to unlatch their sisters' chains. I maintain the tradition. I'm going to do the second poem I'm going to do, and the last poem, I guess, is called Ezekiel 37. In the valley of broken bones, the only language that matters is wordless. I pull on a black tailored dress, leather seamed to tell everyone, including myself, I didn't come to play. Coaxing the zip into my neck reminds me to forget I'm crumbling. Memory lends me a strut. Move too fast to stop, to think, to collapse, to fall out. This is the dance. If I'm lucky, a sister will smile arms around me on my commute. Hold my gaze long enough for warmth to inflate my body, heal and hold up the facade. The last time I broke, I was in an open plan office. When the shiver whirls through your body, I pray you are not where eyes will swallow. I pray you have presence enough to stand, push against a hard surface until the tremble ceases. Thank you.
Oh my God, so
Is there one more going or no? She's gonna read another
no,
one?
no, it's you. It's definitely you.
Okay. Okay, wow. This is beautiful. It's been long. I've been really looking forward to hearing everyone. So I'm really grateful I got to sit through this. And thank you, Vangi, for hosting and setting this up. I'm going to do 3 poems. The first poem is called Castaway. And another one is called Injustice. And then the last one is The Antidote, which is a newer poem. Okay. And I pray that the sound is okay because I'm in a studio. I did not want to write a poem full of corpses, so I wrote a sacred pink blue sky jeweled on the horizon. Laughter as the loudest star sleeps, humor hugs every ache whole. How heavy heads lay after a long day in the humid heat, Caribbean moon sighs and joyous dreams. I did not wish to speak of what should not be spoken, so silence breathed into all the words, a haunting. I come from a language that does not write itself. Our ancestors speak hurricane, a thunder tongue, shivering tides, and a petty revenge. The mid-Atlantic is a vexed auntie, rattling rivers and roofs, ready for reckoning, knocking at the chest of men. On the other side of now, there is a door where we return. Every island is a hip swaying between here and there, afloat in the dance to belong, rocking in the arms of the edge, where the sea is an emerald flag and palm trees praise the air. Every shore is an altar of remembrance, embraced on purpose, picnic of the sun ray where prayer trembles the light, or how a storm retreats. We marble and move eternal, unformed and unlost, hips hollering, elbows flapping like fanning flames, bare feet chant in the sand, or in a concrete jungle, love taps quake the nape of the earth's neck, where daughters of diaspora dream and inherit journeys of flesh, where a smile is also a scar, or how my grandfather came to see about us years after he died, wearing my uncle's face, dimpled and shining eyes like two wet black beans, baptized by a spirit. Rum slapped on his breath, charming man and all he was, checking on his grandbabies. Fear not death. We visit kinfolk there, lingering in the blood where the ocean hums, tribe of the great abyss, a not knowing from where or what we come, and still to arrive before they could conquer us. We came by shipwreck, by wind and wave, pushed into the water, splashing and shaking. The wound teaches us to remember where tomorrow glows. Listen to the animal clawing within. A rooster caws directions between this world and the next. There are roads that cannot be mapped, and there are streets that do not have names. We ran away into the ochre-tinted mountains, seeking maroon hills. I was born borderless, mounting a dollar van like an Orisha, scribbling visions on a train or in an airport, traveling ritual, voice, and time. I was born of distance, in between now and then. Then the second poem is called Injustice, and it was written after a poem by Audre Lorde called Power. So if you get to read that poem, then this one it makes sense without it, but it'll give more context. Injustice. Howling in the wound of words, a tongue trembles with the tension of truth. The difference between poetry and rhetoric is there's a world outside your door knocking inward. A voice hungers fearless, wooed by courage, deliberate impulse, the ability to turn a knob, to alter or shift action. A window is a mirror of risk. A poet writes to balance the scales of power, yet feels the absence of power. Perhaps instead of rape, I ought to say he forced a sweating throb, liquored moans, mangled mourning, a roofy stone turned me inside out, studded, wet, worn. I was a ghost, a rage no one can see. I killed myself a little to enter the memory so close. I choose not to resurrect the devil in details. And the country, still a culture of take or be taken violently. The United States is a forced entry on stolen land. The Supreme Court weaponizes words against flesh. Law is made. Still, a poem is not a knife or gun or food unless the knife or gun is a pen or clothes. A pen is only a sword of feelings, not a home, not louder than a bomb. It's not flesh or blood, not a condom or pill, cannot unrape you, not undo your doing, yet a poem is a doing still, warbling within an eye, an ear, mouth, or touch, a living beneath words. How we respond to power reveals our power. More or less, a flex, relinquish, tug, push, pull, demand, plead, a wrist dancing between fist and open palm to kill or be sacrificed. Murder is murder. I aborted the child. It did not leave me like a dove or bittersweet farewell. I sucked the life I did not want away. The proof is in the pudding I cannot swallow. A poet writes to balance the scales. Any child that dies cannot undie in a poem, nor can jury undie our children. There are no words to heal or bring back the dead. Remember, you cannot unkill a part of yourself with dreams or kisses, with poetry or rhetoric, awards, accolades, pensions, money or comfort, marches or protests, judges or prisons. Losing a child is a suicide. The whole world silent, a voice lost in the difference between killing yourself and killing yourself. Love and death. What we resist will amend or slaughter us. There will be others, and there were others. What say Audre Lorde to Margaret Garner of Power? The difference between poetry or rhetoric is a choice between lesser evils. Whether killing your children is killing yourself, whether you kill yourself or your children, a final word singing from a grave, shifted by the missing, maddened by the hold. Power is in the wave that moves. The way change is God. So is spirit or soul sees through, or like love. The more you control, the more it controls you. The difference between poetry and rhetoric is Darim Tator, a poet in Palestine, because a poem is not a knife or gun or bomb, yet a poem can so enrage a nation to imprison a poet who attempts to balance the scales, who agitates a people power to do, to change. When a foot is on your neck, it does not matter how you get it off, what words you say, what weapons you use, knife or pen, so long as you do is survival. And it becomes less and less important what someone thinks about how you resist, unless, of course, they are willing to take the foot off your neck too. And then this is a shorter, small poem that I wrote in response to what's going on with the coronavirus and thinking that care is more necessary now than ever. It's called The Antidote. What does it mean to be considered, looked after, thought of, tucked in, held, or wondered about, attended to, regarded as deserving of want or need, never alone, blooming in the arms of another, belonging, to have a heart horizon wide, to friend a ship with sails, to harness the wind, to lean, lay where a wound dreams, is not a weapon or trigger to pull or peel. Pain is a poison, a rattlesnake whispering sweet nothings of forever and the end gazing back at you. Care is a voice with hands, trembling of courage. Healing is the hold letting go. Here is a sip of love, warm and unspeakable music that opens a chest, clears a throat like herbal tea, homemade breath crossing lung to lung, sharing air like a kiss, soft cough drops, soothing shame like the rhythm of uncontrollable laughter. When you are sick, it's the gentle gestures of grace, a song in the thick of grief, a lightened load falling heavy on a shoulder. Care is a room full of listening, less lost and more found, a firm grip when weak, weeping with worry. Care is familiar and thankless. While the people hoard their nothingness, lounging in despair, the earth cleanses itself of greed and cancer clinging to her bones. Uncertainty rocks us to sleep, mouthing words of prayerless tomorrows, clutching pearls of market-driven identity. Work-filled and empty, everyone's chasing shadows on conference calls or in emails. But care is knocking on your door, like abuelita waiting online for food stamps. Care has mouths to feed, wastes no words, is deliberate, and knows that tomorrow is not promised. The way the ground carries your feet is a care, or how the dishes don't wash themselves. Care is inconvenient and intentional, like poetry pouring out anyway. Thank you.
All right, all right. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This poetry is amazing. I want to put my glass up to this amazing poetry that's been happening. It is, again, life affirming. It is joy. It is pain. It's just our truth. And I appreciate all of you for sharing. Of course, if I'm here, that means that open mic is happening, and we have an amazing lineup for our last and final poets that we'll be sharing today. Let me just check my notes here. This is actually the quickest way for me to check on how everything is. Okay, so next up for our open mic, we have Shirley May. Shirley May will be followed by Tambile, and then we have Mo Africa to close us out for our open mic. I also want to shout out folks that have been donating. We've been keeping the chat live, the live stream. People have been asking how to donate, and they have been donating. And I even had a wonderful household that said they wanted to give some cash that will go directly into the account. That was my beautiful mother. So we want to give a quick shout out to my mom for donating as well. And thank you again for coming. So next up, we have Shirley May for our open mic. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm from the UK. I run a poetry organisation in the city, and this is an absolute privilege to be able to be here and just share. I want to thank Tolu for actually inviting me to this stream. It wasn't something I intended to do tonight, but yeah, it's fabulous. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm going to do a poem that's called Tomorrow, and it's in celebration of those mothers and fathers that were part of the diaspora that came to the UK that actually are now being asked to leave. Those who are not dead are now being asked to leave because Britain no longer leaves them. This is called Tomorrow. I stand in all our yesterdays where the valiant once stood, where heroes now stand, for we have come too far. So I battle like a queen should. Mothers call to combat, like the battalions of our families, all those who did not lie down, while others took possession of our rise and our fall. Spirited like my mother's mother and her mother before, we did not yield ground, but braced ourselves for the journey in hulls of tall ships to distant shore, a bejeweled cargo of victors and brave women. We are the jet black, fabulous jazz of isosceles. We stand in all our yesterdays where the valiant have once stood, where heroes now stand. You set a path for us to ascend, to find the very best in us as we enter the city gates. You made us a people that have had to battle against those who would try to defeat us. You made us strong. You gave us your voice. You gave us your song. You told us to rise on the dawn and overstand the storm. You made us spirited. We are Kenya and we are Egypt. We are Senegal and Rwanda. We are Mali and we are Libya. We are Madagascar and we are Nigeria. We are Jamaica and we are Barbados and we are Trinidad. We are a people called to arms, a people not afraid. We are the jet black, fabulous jazz of isosceles. And I've got another one that I wrote for my daughter, actually, and in the West Indies, and it's probably, we are displaced people, an African tradition that we do something that is called 9 nights. And when somebody dies, we have a time where we mourn and support, and we're there in mass. But actually, as the person's laid to rest, people are left to get on with mourning their own. And she asked, would we continue this tradition after my generation died? It's called Gather Unto Me, I Say. Gather unto me, I say, those of you who wear the black cloth perpetual, midweek and always on Friday. You became a partaker of the ritual. When did you become a partaker of the ritual? When did you become fettered to the 9 nights and a frequent visitor to the house of the dead? Gather unto me, all of you, who embrace the idea of the gathering. It gains momentum when the first call goes out to anti-churchwoman and brother man Shabines. She brings the brethren unto herself at first. She comes with the Bible. They hold the rod of correction in love and in hope, and in love and in hope that one soul will be saved. He comes with a fire, a different fire, Ray and nephew, cane white. It burns the back of your throat. It's a different hot. His tongue is laced with bombaclart, rasclart redemption. He too makes the call, and they come with ivory dominoes and embers of fire like soothsayers and mystics they come, with the knowledge to read the cards in your hand. They are the women and the men who can find the six you hold. He comes with the herb of Solomon, Rizla, matches, and no regrets. The two come together, sinner and saint. They eye each other up suspiciously. They tell stories and reminisce of good days and bad, of church outings and blues parties, of summers and winters. They be laughing about the coach trips we took to strange places like Skegness with rice and peas and curry-goat in the dinner flask. Someone raises a song, "We shall gather by the river," while someone shouts 6 as the domino crashes on Mama's best dining table. This is the only time she does not have a screw face of resistance. We take more moments to drink and to groan and to mourn and to cry. We pore over old photographs, laughing at the clothes we wouldn't wear today. We see images of images, our dead and our living together, reminding us how the time we have together is short. It is short. Mama said, live. Mama said, love. And Mama said, do. But she said, don't stray far from the old ways of we people, for it is important to gather unto ourselves. Thank you. It's been a privilege to listen.
Thank you so much, Shirley Mae. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I think you're joining us on the phone because we figured out how to use the phone unless you were able to connect it on the mic. Can't hear you. So we cannot hear you on your computer, but you mentioned that you were able to phone in. Can we unmute her phone?
If the phone is 17542, it's unmuted.
That's not hers. What is the number?
1745.
Maybe Tabile, you can write to Wema, and in the meantime we can have more Africa, and we'll come back to you just now. Is that okay?
Right. Okay. Just a quick check. Did we find 424? No. No. Okay. No problem. Great. So we're going to move forward with Mo Africa. I'm so happy to welcome you to our open mic.
Thank you. It feels weird that, we are together, but we are not together, but we are together. But it has been lovely. For me, as we're celebrating World Poetry Day, it's my first encounter with poetry has always been, you know, the around the fire nights, and Kwadwa would come and recite some poetry. So I'll be reading a Sepedi poem for you tonight. Le kgarebe la bohlale le etša mmalo, wena o sebodu sa go redimoga setimana ka mabose goba maledu a mašaša, lešilo la go phathaga dithokgolo sa lefela, ka tla ka felesetša bangwe madibeng, madi ke lobetše lefela, lešoko la pelego ke nyakile ke bona bagešo, o se kaku botlhoko bja gago bo tsena pelong, o se kgopotšo sa mašiša pelo bophelong bjaka, tšatši la pula ya matlakadibe ya ba leru le leso bophelong bjaka, o se kgopotšo sa go katwa ga lekgarebe la go ithata, sethakga sa diatla le polelo, pelo e hwala pitšana ge o myemyela, sefahlego seetša sa tatago se katapowana, leleme la ka ke tladi ya go rethwa ke modumedi wa pelo ya maswi, ke go sunyeletša ka mantswe gore o nkatoge, go khutša ga pula re holofela molelatladi, wena o sa lešepa la bosego la o hloka mong, leitšibulo la ka, wena o se gopotšo sa go katwa ga lekgarebe la go ithata, sethakga sa diatla le polelo, pelo e hwala pitšana ge o myemyela, sefahlego sa gago seetša sa tatago se katapowana. So yeah, the poem, it's in Sepedi, which is my mother tongue, one of the 11 official languages in South Africa. And it talks about a young lady who has been, you know, verbally abused by her mother because of she looks so much like her father, and she was conceived through rape. So the mother continuously, you know, backlash on this young lady just because of she looks like her father. Even with the way she smiles, she reminds the mother of the father so much. But yeah, that's my piece that I'm sharing with you tonight. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Oh, Dumela, my sister, I love it. It was funny because I was craving hearing poetry in the indigenous languages of South Africa, and you met that like instantly. I was just like, I'm craving to hear it. So you brought it, and thank you so much for sharing. Thank you all of our open mic poets. I'm really not sure if we were able to work out the technical issues for Thembile. Maybe we can try one more time, and then Vangi is going to come in and close us out. Let's see. Thembile, can we hear you? It's showing that you're on, but we're not able to hear anything. I'm so sorry. We will send you some love, everyone. Thank you for wanting to hold. Can you hear us? No? Okay, but thank you so much for coming through and witnessing the work, and also just giving your energy to this space. We know you have something really special, and maybe we can post something on our pages as a special tribute to Thembile for just being here and wanting to share. So I'm going to make space on the Bridges page, as well as I hope Hear My Voice and Impepho Press to feature some of your work as well. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. We are sad not to be able to hear you, but I like that idea where we can get her to post something and then we'll be able to share. So, wow, World Poetry Day, and this is what we have done. This is what we have done. Can we unmute our mics just for a second and just like give ourselves a huge...
Impepho!
Yes.
The poets are rocking.
Okay, so again, please.
Yes, we did it.
We did it. We really did. Okay, so before we close off, I want to make sure I thank some people. First of all, Busisiwe Mahlangu, Desirea, danai, mupotsa, Raya, Wambui, Crystal, Tetty, Sarah Godsell, Malewezi, Mandi Vundla, Holly Bass, Mac Manaka, Alexandra Lolita, Lebu Mashile, Claire Trevian, Tony Stewart, Tolu Aglusi, and Aja Monet. We want to also thank Torsten Clear, Mamudei, Shirley, Tabile, and Mu Africa. So you guys, you gave us this. You gave us your voices, and we want to say thank you. We want to say thank you for writing. Thank you for lending yourself to hope rather than despair. And so I also want to say thank you to Bridges, the Pan-Africanist movement. I want to say thank you to hear my voice. And I want to say thank you to our team at impepho Press. We don't do this alone. I also want to say thank you to Antonella from Afro Women's Poetry. And so to close off, I thought, because yes, it's World Poetry Day, but it is also, we're approaching Human Rights Day in South Africa. And because of that, I think I would like to share a poem by Sandile Degeni called Telegraph to the Sky. Sandile Degeni passed away end of last year. Stay with me when the sun rises from the western sky. When silver spears lashing at earth and our youth, when the eastern horizon hangs smoke as celebration to a fading dream. Will you take my blistered hand to a kiss? That journey between reflex action and conviction, where moments flash from substance to emotion, and where we count seconds as instant. We live in times where we are against time. An impulse rules over us as undirected, unelected factor. We live cliche as fact, and fact is cliche to the one beat of change. Will you stay with me when I have no more hallelujahs to your name, and instead offer dahlias to your anonymity? When my knees refuse to bend at your beauty, but my eye of growth raises an altar to your soul. That power that dreams awake the Brazilian forest, or in its strength of wish, reawakens our dead at Kasinga, Biafra, or wherever your heart lives among the innocent dead. Will you really stay with me when I stand and sing to the world its magnitude, its greatness for an ability to turn itself upside down while the inhabitants still believe in its constant, unaware that their heads are facing down? Nowadays, they don't hang you by the neck till you die. They dangle you by the feet till the blood comes to your brain. It's a high feeling that makes you reach for the sky but touch earth as limit, as ecstasy, of reaching some end because some journeys are so long, much longer when you live in this dream forest called poetry. They say it is not by bread alone that we live. I know. It is by poetry alone that we survive. With poetry dancing on our tongues, we wiped the blood from our mouths. We charmed our torturers. We dangled freedom bells from our shackles. We made music out of sirens. We made homes out of prisons. We redesigned parliaments out of corrugated iron. We petrol bombed our angry past. We blasted our martyrs out of our brains, and we made shrines out of their graves. We weaved forgiveness onto our t-shirts. And with our last remaining droplets of blood, we tried to paint peace on angry, dark skies. We silenced our solitude. We mated our humility with our anger. With hammers and chisels, we punched hope deep into our heart. We swam, we danced, and we played water games in our tears. And now we wave flags so bright, sometimes brighter than our future. But stay with me. Stay with me when the jungle has no tree, when the wind has no breath, when the rain has no sea, when the desert has no sand and the stars have no sky. God has no mercy and the devil is making barbecue out of our land. Now, will you stay with me? Stay so that we can sing songs from experience. We sing ideas from consciousness. Let's cultivate destiny from the barrenness of this history. Stay with me, shall you? Be. Summer. And I think Ishmael is going to make an announcement before we go, and we're going to end the. Thank you guys for being with us. What a beautiful.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I'm not sure why it doesn't want to put me up as the video. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this live stream. It was really something that we got together in a short space of time, and I'm glad it went as good as it went. And also for all these poets that came together to share their voices. I'm Ishmael Sibia. I'm the Executive Director of Hear My Voice, and we are a non-profit organization from South Africa focused on creating open and uncensored platforms for poets to speak about what matters most to them. Right? We do a whole lot of programs, including an exchange program where we host people from the world in South Africa and poets from South Africa to the world. With that said, this is the beginning of an initiative that we as Hear My Voice are starting, whereby we're going to give platform to various writers and poets to live stream their shows. And with that, we have started a fund whereby we're going to pay each and every poet that participates in this live stream. So we as Hear My Voice have put up 10,000 Rand, and we're asking you guys as the public, as well as different industry players and various organizations within the arts industry, and just private and governmental institutions to just come on board as well to assist in this fund so that we can continue creating these spaces for writers, as well as ensure that writers in these dire times of the coronavirus and all these bans can continue earning a living. And with that fund, we're going to ensure that each and every writer who participates in our programs gets an honorarium for doing so. Once again, thank you so much. And you can go ahead and donate at hearmyvoice.co.za, or even email me at Ishmael, ISHMAEL, at hearmyvoice.co.za. Thank you once again for joining us on this live stream, and to many more. Have a great evening and afternoon for the others.
again, this is Wema Rahopala from Bridges, a Pan-African Arts Movement. I want to thank everyone who has shared and donated so far. Bridges, a Pan-African Arts Movement is a platform for artists of various art forms, whether it's literary arts, visual arts, music, dance, theater. We find ways to use the arts as a vehicle for change and present different opportunities for collaborations. I just want to mention in our group chat, there has been quite a conversation about a collection of poems and keeping in touch with each other and different things like that. I want to acknowledge the work that all the poets have done and also think about what's next. There may be some other things that are coming up. So keep in touch with us, keep in touch with all of the poets because we may have some other things in store. The idea of a collection of this work is just too much to even imagine. It's so wonderful. I hope that we can make this happen. But again, this is Wema Rahopala from Brooklyn, New York, and from Bridges, a Pan-African Arts Movement. Thank you for joining us.
Could I ask everyone to unmute their microphones and let us say bye and end this live stream?
Bye. Yay, we will not be silent.
Poetry we hope.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
everyone. Bye.
Bye.